Good afternoon, everyone. This is Stacy Schroeder, the Workforce Development Director here at PMA, and with me today is Aaron Riffle, our Workforce Development and METALFORM EDU Project Lead. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar, the first look at our new METALFORM EDU system. Looks like we've got a pretty good mix of attendees today. From the data, it seems like half of you have purchased licenses before and are HR managers for your company. And about half, this will be your first time checking out the system. So we're glad to have you. Our plan for today is to walk you through the new system. We'll start with how to log in. We'll go through the learner experience, so what your employees will see as they're training. And then we'll dive a little bit into the HR manager functionality and show you some of the great new reports that are available. If you have questions, feel free to chat them in or use the raise your hand function, and we will answer them as they come in. So we'll go ahead and get started. So if you can see on my screen, I've got our PMA webpage here. So we're going to go ahead and start with METALFORM EDU, and we'll click on Login. So what you'll notice here, we've got in bold, is this your first time here? So this is information that's really helpful. So if you're new to METALFORM EDU and you're looking to buy licenses for your company, your username is the email that you've used with PMA.org, and your password is change.me1. If you've already had a METALFORM EDU account, your manager, your username is your email, and your password is change.me.1. If you're a learner, your username would be the same as before, and your password again is change.me.1. And it's very simple to change your password once you log in the first time. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is log in as someone who had an account before, and I'll show you how the password change process works. So here we get prompted to change your password. So it remembered my username. For the current password, I would type in that change.me once, and then I would pick a new password. And then I would save changes. And it's really just that simple. So now the next time I log in, I would log in with PMA Demo 7, which is my username, and then my new password that I just created. And you'll notice that there's a lot of new functionality to help you learn the new system. So if it's your first time logging in, you'll get this sort of pop-up box, and it'll give you a short tour. So we can click through. So we've got information about your new dashboard that has features to help you access information. We can click next. It'll show you this box. Recently accessed courses shows you the ones that you last visited, so you can jump right back in. Course overview, so this would show all the courses that are assigned to a student, so all the ones they're enrolled in. And there's lots of ways to sort and filter, which we'll show you. Things like ones that are in progress, ones that are completed, ones that the learner has starred, etc. And then we've also got one here for display options. So you can change whether you want to sort alphabetical or by last access date, and we'll show you this with a learner example here in a moment. That's the end of the tour. So every person, when they log in for the first time, that's what they'll get. So now what we'd like to do is log in as a learner that has some things assigned. So I'm going to log out of this particular account. I'm going to go back to our web page, click Login. And another important thing to notice is if you had been an HR manager at your company before, you may have had to do what we call the single sign-on, where you logged into your PMA.org account and then had a special link. Now everyone logs on to METALFORM EDU the same way. So this is to help eliminate some confusion with multiple logon methods for different people in your company. So now I'll log in as a learner. So I'm going to log in as PMA Demo 1 with my password. So I'm a learner, and now as I log in, you can see that I've got this particular type of license assigned. So I have an annual metal forming license assigned to me. And then as I scroll down, it shows all the courses that I'm assigned. So what's nice is the student can do a lot of filtering. So let's say that you as the HR manager have assigned them all the courses or a big number of courses, and they're getting a little intimidated or having trouble finding what they're looking for. They can filter, so maybe they just want to focus on the ones that are currently in progress. or maybe they want to double check that they're done with something. They can go to the completed tab. We'll go back to all. And then another thing I want to show you is on the right-hand side, we've got this course name. So if I click that, the other option is last accessed. So that's a nice function for them to be able to get right back into the one that they most recently accessed. So you can see it's very responsive, lots of different ways to view information. And then if we click on this one here that says card, you'll notice there's two other options. So the first one is list. So that's a little bit more compact. So it still has the course name, it's a clickable link to the course, and it shows that status bar. If they want more written information, they can also go to the summary mode. So that shows the course information, the training time, the learning objectives, if there are learning paths attached to it, and the percentage completion. And again, feel free to chat in any questions that you have, or if you would like to say them out loud, feel free to use the raise your hand functionality. So now at this point, I want to show you one more thing about the courses. So if you look, there's these three dots at the side of the course. So if we click those, a learner could star the course. So let's say they know that you've assigned it to them and they want to get it done this week. They could star it so it comes to the top of the list. Or if it's already completed and they don't like the look of the clutter, they could hide from view. So lots of options for a learner to make it their own. And for those of you that are familiar with the old system, hopefully you agree that the look and feel of this is a lot more visually appealing, and it's a little bit simpler and more intuitive for the learner. So now what I'll do is show you, if we go to the top of this learner's page, you'll see there's a number of drop-downs here. So the first one is My Courses. So if the user clicks on that, this also shows all the courses they're assigned, so they could easily navigate to a course from there as well. So lots of functionality, lots of ways to get the information that you're looking for. So the next thing that I want to show you is we're going to click on the All Courses tab, and this takes you to the catalog. So we've got each of the major categories here, and then you can either choose to expand one in particular, or you can use the Expand All, and that'll pull all of them down. And then we can click within the courses. So let's click within the die setter training category of metal forming. And now this will show all the courses assigned to that. So it shows the picture, the course name, and the category of courses. And then you can click on any one of them to see even more details. So as you can see, it's a lot more visually engaging type of layout for the courses. And the learner can also search by category with this filter as well. So now that we've shown you how to navigate as a learner within the courses, let's go ahead and pick one to go into. So I'm going to go to this learner's dashboard so we can see the ones that they're actively working on. So I'm going to go to PMA 1003. So this is one that the student hasn't started yet. So every course has the same front page. So there's instructions and content. So first we'll click on the instructions. So very simple, it's just a couple bullets here. So we share with the learner to click on the content tile, and then each title to access the materials. The study guide and the course are optional but highly recommended, and the assessment, a score of 70% or higher, is the requirement for the course to be marked complete. So this is something where the learner might look at it the first time. Once they understand it, they can skip right into the content moving forward. So if we click on the content tile, you'll see there's three items, so study guide, course, and assessment. So I'll pull up the study guide to show you. It pops up within the system. So again, it's that same downloadable, printable PDF document. And once you close it, there'll be a green check mark. When we go to the course, that'll load in a window. And you'll notice it loads full screen on top of the course page so that it no longer can be missed. It's not hiding in a separate tab on a different monitor or anything like that. And you may have noticed before, if you were using the last system, that depending on the kind of course, whether it was a PMA course or one from our partner, they looked a little bit different. Now they all open the same to minimize confusion. The same exact content that we had before, so it's all fully narrated. They start with learning objectives, and then we can go screen by screen. So I've turned the narration off just so I'm not trying to talk over them, and we'll run through this at a fairly fast pace. So for those of you that haven't seen EDU before, we worked with an instructional design firm to bring all of our content up to date. So it's very excellent graphics, it's fully narrated, students can stop, start, replay, they can turn the narration on and off, and we've added in activities. So every time we see a play button, there's something that'll happen on the screen. And the learner can redo that as many times as they'd like. And every word you see written is narrated as well. So we'll move through this. We'll give you just a couple examples here of the interaction. And let's move on. We've got a number of kinds of activities. So I'm going to find one of those for you. And within the course, we have what are called knowledge checks. So there can be drag and drop. There's other kinds. This course is more of an introductory one. So it ends with this things to remember. There wasn't as much interaction as there are in some of the more detailed courses. So this things to remember is a recap of the course. So it can be images or it can be text. Typically it's more than one page, and it aligns with the learning objectives of the course. So the learner can review that or the rest of the content, so I can go back and forth as many times as they want. And then when they're ready to be done with the course and do the assessment, it's as simple as closing this window. So when that window closes, you'll notice it brings them right back to this main page, which is another nice improvement. So it's not a matter of trying to navigate to find the assessment, it brings you right back to it. So now we're going to click on the assessment. And we've got some instructions. So the assessment is the part that's required for the whole course to be marked complete. The student needs a 70% or higher, unlimited attempts, untimed. Every assessment now has 10 questions, and the questions are pulled from a pool, so they won't see the same questions every time. So now we'll go ahead and attempt the assessment. One of the things that's great about this new system is we've got a lot of functionality on the right-hand side here for assessment navigation. So I tried answering one question, I'll go to the next page. I'm going to guess, but I'm not sure, so I can flag this question, and you'll notice it puts a little red mark here. We've got a question from the audience, does this content come in different languages? We do offer our metal forming classes in Spanish, and you can also change the interface of the system in Spanish with this little toggle up here. If you want more information, you can check out the purchase page, and it'll show you which specific courses are offered in Spanish, or you can reach out to us after the webinar if you need more details. So back to the assessment here. So you'll notice because I answered question 1, I got a gray on the bottom. Because I have a flag on question 2, it's red. And then I'll go through the next question. So it shows gray and red because I answered it, but I want to go back to it. And then I can skip around by using these tiles. So maybe I want to try question 5, next page, try question 6. And then when the student's ready to be done, they can hit that finish assessment, and it gives you a nice summary. So this is telling me that I've actually only saved answers for 4 of them, so I can return to the attempt and answer the rest. When the student's done, they can submit all and finish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a course that this student has completed, so you can see how it looks once the assessment is complete and they've passed. I'm going to open up PMA 1001. So this student, you can see they've got a check mark for the assessment, which means they've achieved a 70% or greater. And now this course certificate link is active. So once they've got their 70%, they need to click this link and click on View Certificate. And then this will open as a PDF, so I'll show you that. So it auto-populates with the student's name, the course, and the date. And this is something they can save or print. And you as the HR manager will show you a couple ways where you can see the status of your learners for courses, and then their grades, and their certificates. So now that we've walked through how to look at courses as a learner, we want to show you some new functionality called Learner Reports. So this is for this particular individual. So you will notice that we've got a bunch of bars along the top here. So what these show is the green line, this green line, is the scores that Alvin has in all the courses he's assigned. So he's only completed one so far, and he got an 80 in PMA 1001. These blue bars are the overall course average for all learners in his company. So it's a nice way for them to do a little bit of benchmarking. Along the top, we've got some statistics here on the number of completed courses, the courses in progress, and his average grade. And then if we scroll down a little bit, there's other ways to see this information. So it'll show a green check mark for courses that are completed. It'll show the progress bar for all of them, the grade, the date enrolled, the date completed, and then it shows you information on the individual assessments as well. So that was a lot of information about learners and all the capabilities in the system, including the reports. Does anyone have any questions at this point? Feel free to chat them in. We'll give you guys a couple minutes. Okay, well, if you think of questions later, please feel free to chat them in. Oh, I see one. Is course content going to be covered or a demo available for people to see if course content is beneficial to their organization? That's a great question. So we have a number of videos available on our website that show a deeper dive into the content. So we can certainly follow up with you after today's webinar with some links to those. And then we can also schedule a one-on-one demo with you if there are specific areas that you'd like to see in the content. This is more a first look at the entire new system. So thank you for that question. Okay, so at this point, we're going to keep moving. So we're going to switch gears and go to the HR manager perspective. So I'm going to go ahead and log out as the student. I'm going to go back to our web page. So as I mentioned earlier, to log in as an HR manager, it's this same login link, which is great. So I'm going to log in as a demo HR manager. Okay, so this particular demo HR manager is a PMA member. So she sees only the types of licenses that are available for members. So she sees full library, and then she sees metal forming, and then the different time durations. Okay, so these ones show the ones that she's already bought, and then if she's looking to buy licenses, there's a couple ways to navigate. So there's these 4 links here, so full library, metal forming, Spanish metal forming, or the Occupational Aptitude and Knowledge Assessment, or she can scroll through the full list. And what's really nice about this new platform is instead of having to do individual purchases for each type of license, you can buy a mix of multiple kinds in one transaction, which is really nice. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to just do a couple mock purchases here. So I'll say 1 full library 6-month license, and I'll say add to cart. And then you'll see my cart now has a 1 in it. I'm going to buy one other thing as well. So I'll buy 1 metal forming annual license. Now you can see my cart says 2. And the last thing I'm going to buy is a 1 Occupational Aptitude and Knowledge Assessment. So now I've got 3 things in my cart. So at this point, we're ready to click on the card at the top of the page. And you can see, you can scroll down. Okay, I've got 1 full library 6 months, 1 metal forming annual, 1 OCA. Perfect. I'm ready to check out. So now we're ready to, so for what I'm going to do for a moment, I'm going to pause the screen share. I'm going to enter a coupon so that it reduces the price so I can make this purchase happen. So give me 1 second here. Okay, so now we're back on air. I've applied my coupon. I'm going to proceed to checkout. So process payment. And it's as simple as that. So now our HR manager, Sheila, has her new licenses she's purchased, and there's this nice link up here that takes her straight to license management, which is where you can assign licenses, create users, and enroll in courses. So we're going to go right to that tab now that we've purchased our new licenses. And you can see this is showing the licenses that I just bought. So I've got one OCA created today, one license, one METALFORM annual member created today, one full library 6 months. And this license used area, there's just a dash mark because I haven't assigned these to any learners yet. So now we're at the point where we can add a user to the system, and then we'll walk through assigning a license to that user and then enrolling them in courses. I'm going to go to the Users button, and it's a very similar process to what it was in the old system. So we're going to go ahead and create a new user. So you pick a username, and then you put in their first name and password. So we'll just make up someone here. And then email address is a required field, but it doesn't have to be a unique email. So it can be yours, it can be kind of a bogus email, doesn't really matter. So we'll do that. And then when you get to the bottom here, you can create that user. And then new password. So I'll give them an easy to remember password. All right, so now that we've created that new learner, we can go ahead and assign managers as well. So it's a nice, easy button here. So assign manager, and we're going to assign Sheila. And we're going to assign, let me go back real quick. So first I need to pick my user, so we'll pick Sally, who we just created. And then we're going to assign Sheila as the user. All right, so that's, so Sally's now a manager for that group, so that's as simple as it is. And now we are ready to assign users a license. So I'm going to click on the Licenses tab. So we're in the Licenses tab now. And then you'll notice there's this Manage column on the far right, and there's these buttons that look like a couple lines. So we're going to pick one of the new licenses that we just bought, and then that'll take us to a new screen. And we've got this button here for Assign License to Users. So we'll go ahead and click that. And then we'll pick our new student that we created, Sally. So Sally Smith. And then it's as simple as Save Changes. So now you'll see that Sally Smith is assigned that METALFORM annual member license today, and it expires 1 year from now. So now we're ready to enroll users in courses from that license. So now what we're going to do is we'll click this Manage button again, and now we're ready to select particular courses. So you can filter by category. So we've got our different METALFORM categories, or you can start typing. So let's say that you want PMA 1000. So it does a type ahead. So it's looking at what you're typing and then starting to limit the results that it shows. So we'll enroll her in PMA 1000. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that's probably a good number to start with for a new student. And then once we've got the ones that we want her to be assigned to, we just click Save Changes.
And if you remember, in the old system, you had to go through several pages of courses and kind of click check boxes next to each one. So it's really nice that, especially if you're inside a content area, you could just kind of click on multiple courses inside of an area and then assign them all at once.
Yeah, Erin's absolutely right. One of the big things that we were looking to improve on is the functionality for learners and for HR managers, and also the reporting and analytics So we've shown you the learner reports, and now we're ready to show you some of the HR manager reports. And I think you're just going to be truly amazed by all that's available. So first we're going to go through the Users tab, and then we're going to see a user's certificate and grade. So we'll click on one of the students that we've been working with. So I think, let's see, who's been in most recently? So Alvin was in most recently. So we'll click on him, and this shows his user details. So it shows your company name, your membership status, all the courses that he's currently enrolled in. And then you can see there's not only a report for grade overview, there's also this line called My Certificate. So I'm going to start with grades overview. So this is an easy way to see all the courses that a student has assigned, and then their grades if they've completed the assessment. So it looks like he's passed PMA 1001. He's tried stamping press and modes of safeguarding, but he hasn't gotten a score on that assessment yet. So now I'm going to go back, and we're going to look at this My Certificates link. So this will show any certificate that the learner has received. So as a reminder, the certificate's only available once someone takes the assessment and passes it with a score of 70 or higher and views that certificate. So I'll show this file again, and then I'll go ahead and answer the question that just came in. So again, here's that certificate, and as a student successfully completes more assessments, there will be more and more lines here. Let me take a look at your question. Is it required to assign a manager to a user? So the way that our system works is the person that purchases for your company is called an HR manager, and that person has the responsibility for creating the users for your company that you want to train, assigning a license to them, and enrolling them in courses. So that's the way that you're able to track their progress, monitor what they're doing. So you do need at least one HR manager for your company.
But you don't have to assign additional managers unless you would like someone else to be able to manage their activities inside of the system.
Good question, and please let us know if we didn't answer it fully. We're happy to give more details. So now we're going to click on the License Management tab. And then we're going to click on Reports. And we've got another question here. Oh, thank you. Yep, you're welcome, Matt. No problem. And as you can see, there are multiple reports available, and we're really excited to show you some of these. The first one we want to show you is the one called User Status. Okay, so I've got a filter here from some searching I was doing before, so we'll remove that, and we'll select all courses. And now you can see for all the students that this HR manager has. So this one shows detail for every course taken by a user. So we can see we've got Lauren and Alvin, they've got PMA 1001, 2, 3, 4, etc. And for each of these courses, for each person, it shows the number of visits, so the number of times they've accessed the content, the time spent, the total time spent, their score if they've taken the assessment, the status, the enroll date, the last access date, the enrollment expiration and completed date. And what's great is there's filters here as well. So let's say that you assign all your new hires PMA 1001 and you want to see how they're doing. You could just start typing that. And
this is the one that's by person?
Yeah, that was by person, so I apologize. We're still getting used to the new system too. So if I want to search for the courses, I'm going to look at metal forming. So this shows just the metal forming. And then let's say that I wanted to focus in on Alvin, it'll automatically pull up just his records. And if there's this little arrow here, you can adjust that to show more than those number of rows if, for instance, you've got a person assigned a lot of courses. And then if you want to remove that filter, it's as simple as clicking that box. So hopefully you're excited to see that report. And if you notice up at the top right here, there's an export. So you can export as Excel, PDF, CSV. You could print it if you wanted. And then there's also ways to filter by timeline. So let's say that you gave someone you know, an assignment for something yesterday, you could filter just by yesterday. So that'll show everything that happened then. So these are reports where it would be probably helpful to review what's available and set up some sort of routine for you and your team of what reports you look at what frequency, so that you can make sure people are doing the training that you're asking them to. So now what we'd like to do...
Did we show them how to export that?
Yeah, so
okay,
just as a reminder, the export functionality is here in the top right. And now what we'd like to do is show you some other reports. So we'll go back to the report page. And another one that's really cool is the user status summary report. So let me open that up. So this shows aggregated data for all users in your company. So this shows person by person, when they were created, the number of courses they have been enrolled in, the number completed, the total number of times they've accessed the system, the total time they've spent in the system, the score, so the average score on any courses they've completed, and their last access date. So again, this is something where we could search. So if we just want to focus in on Nick, that would focus in on him. We can remove the filter. We can also filter the data by timeline. So if you have requirements for how much time somebody's supposed to spend on their training per week, this would be a good thing you could look at weekly. And you can export the data as Excel, PDF, or CSV. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have at this point.
Show them, I'm sorry, how to navigate using the back button. So there's a couple ways to get back into other screens. If you can't see that, I think the back button is over here. Yeah, there's that back button, so you don't always have to go all the way back, like just by hitting the back arrow at the top of your browser. You can also go back that way. But the system keeps track of what you're doing, so it'll also help you get back to where you need to go if you click a couple different ways through it.
Yeah, Erin's exactly right. And a lot of it, it's saving information real time. It's tracking where you are. It's a lot more intuitive and user friendly. The next one we wanted to show you is course access. So this shows summary usage data for every course for which you have purchased a license. So this is showing, let me remove this filter here. So this is showing the course, the category, the number of users you have enrolled in it, how many of those users have accessed it, the number of users that have completed it, the date of last access, number of visits, and time spent. And then we've got one more we want to show you. The last one we want to show you is called Course Site Summary. And this one shows aggregated data for user scores in all courses for which you've purchased a license. So this is by course, how many learners, how many have completed, how many visits, and the time spent. So we'll go ahead and type in PMA, because we've got some folks that have done that within these demo accounts. So for instance, for PMA 1001 at this particular company, we had 5 learners enrolled, 3 have completed. They visited or touched that content 32 times for a total of around 8 minutes, and their average score is 90. And again, for all these reports, you can filter. You can filter by time period, and you can export as well in any format that you want. So those were the couple reports that we wanted to focus in on today. We're really excited for these additional functions and features, and we hope that you find them helpful. And I'd like to open it back up if you guys have additional questions that we can answer for you today. Okay, we just got a question about, is this possible to use as group training? And it's not. It's designed to be individual training. So if you think about historically when you would show training on a VHS or DVD and sit people in a classroom, unless you had some really strong individual assessments, you were measuring more attendance than you were comprehension. So we've moved to the format of individual training. So it's designed for one license goes to one learner, and you can track that particular person's comprehension by looking at their assessment scores, their time within the course, etc. Good question. We've got another one here, As an HR manager, do I have access to all the courses for review without purchasing a license? We don't do free demo accounts, if that's kind of what you're asking. So what we'd ask you, Matt, is we can follow up with you to schedule a one-on-one webinar where we can walk through some particular courses or content areas that you're interested in. And we can also provide links to the deep dive videos that we've got on our website that show a sample of about 6 of our classes and the occupational aptitude and knowledge assessment, so you get a feel for the style and quality of content. Yeah, you guys are welcome. We'll give you a few more minutes to ask some questions. Where do we access the full list of courses? That's a good question. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to the dashboard, and then there's this button called All Courses, and this is available as a guest too. So what I'll do is I'll log out, and we'll go to the PMA website, and then you can see there's a link here for online catalog. So this pulls up that really cool catalog that we were showing you. You can see it says we're currently using guest access, so you can look at this no matter if you've got a PMA account or not. So you can collapse all the categories, you can expand all, you can click on a subcategory and it'll pull up the courses, and then if you click on a particular course, it'll give you the summary, the learning objectives, learning paths that it's connected to, and then it gives you that note, hey, guests can't access this course, please log in. You can get this level of detail for every single course without even logging in. All right, we've got another question here. We have an annual license purchase that we use as a demo account where we can vet courses to assign to new users. This account seems to skew all the new report features. Is there a way to exclude certain accounts from the new report? That's a really good question, Dan. I'm wondering if you could send us via email the name of your demo account, and then we can look into that with our consultant and see what we can figure out. What other questions do you guys have? All right, well, it looks like there might not be any more questions. So what I'd like to ask, if you could type in a quick yes or no for me. Can you type in a yes if you found this information useful, and type in a no if there's still more things that you'd like us to follow up with you on. And then Erin and I can make sure to reach back out to all of you with a recording of this, and then some links to our deep dive video overview of the courses. And then we're happy to schedule one-on-one demos or any other questions that you have. We're happy to address them. So thank you very much for your time, everyone, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and happy holidays to you all.